It's Wall Street Weekly, where we check the charts and check the suits. BC PortCorp in the building. Let's talk Wall Street Weekly, where we check the charts.
Weekly update, I don't sleep, I scheme. Got my hand in the markets, eyes on the green. Options to equity, bonds to the tech scene. Turn bear traps to bread, that's a PortCorp dream. Street charts and shark suits, I move like a dawn. Make the bell ring early just to prove I'm on. This ain't no newsletter, it's war on a beat. Wall Street Weekly, where the wolves don't sleep. I don't trade feelings, I trade formations. Got breakouts time like Fed rate statements. Puts in position when the yield curves flip. Take gains from the top, never die with the dip. I seen bulls get reckless, bears get crushed. Retail hype turn legends to dust. So I read the tape like scripture at dawn, with a watch list colder than a hedge fund pawn. The CNBC, nah, this is street taught. No blue blood trust, just what grit brought. We don't pray for the pump, we prepare for the play. I front run fate every earnings day. Weekly update, I don't sleep, I scheme. Got my hand in the markets, eyes on the green. Options to equity, bonds to the tech scene. Turn bear traps to bread, that's a PortCorp dream. Street charts and shark suits, I move like a dawn. Make the bell ring early just to prove I'm on. This ain't no newsletter, it's war on a beat. Wall Street Weekly, where the wolves don't sleep. Stock split profit, I'm a scalping beast. My calls eat good while they beg for a piece. Inflation print, I decode that live. Cause CPI lies don't keep me deprived. Dot plot hawkish, I pivot and slide. Ride momentum waves like I'm surfing tide. Jerome make a move, I'm 2 steps ahead. I hedge like a ghost while they begging the Fed. This for the ones who don't flinch in the red, who read Powell's tone like it's Morse code said. The game ain't fair, but my mind got wealth. And Wall Street Weekly is the cheat code itself. From the pits to the screens, I done seen it all. Ticker by ticker, I watch them rise then fall. But I rise like rates in a hawkish minute. While they play checkers, I run the whole clinic. Fed talk, got them guessing, I just chart in silence. This that grit from the grind, not Ivy compliance. I'm the trader your fund manager warned you about. I teach you how to move when the weak tap out. Weekly update, I don't sleep, I scheme. Got my hand in the markets, eyes on the green. Options to equity, bonds to the tech scene. Turn bear traps to bread, that's a PortCorp dream. Street charts and shark suits, I move like a dawn. Make the bell ring early just to prove I'm on. This ain't no newsletter, it's war on a beat. Wall Street Weekly, where the wolves don't sleep.
So check the levels, check the vibe, check the ticker before the ticker checks you. Welcome to Wall Street Weekly, and welcome to the other side of the market.
This is Wall Street Weekly with BC PortCorp. Listen deeply, charts meet reality. Green mixed with red, every ticker got a story, every dollar got a thread. Profits speak softly, losses scream loud. Bull markets whisper but the bears roar proud. Investing's more than digits, it's decoding minds. Patterns in the chaos, treasures you can find. Eyes wide open, stay sharp and precise. Cause easy money's myth, truth comes with a price. Watch the money flow, truth hidden in disguise. Risk what you know, wealth favors the wise. If you ain't thinking deeper than your pockets leak weekly, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Tune in to Wall Street Weekly. With BC PortCorp, we're making sense of the madness. Truth in the numbers, clarity from the vastness.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of Wall Street Weekly, where we focus on the traditional side of markets. I've got a few things I'd like to talk about today. I saw ARK Invest spending some more money on some AI projects. We'll get into that one in a second. Definitely going to be taking a look at the chart because it looks quite nice. Might be getting to some buying opportunities on that one. For myself, I do have a little bit lower targets, but sometimes Kathy Woods buys a little bit early. I do have something else about the farming industry. Been hearing a lot about it. Thought we could break some of that down. We have been seeing a little bit of some struggles over there with some of the tariffs that have been going on. A lot of deals have been backed out of. So we'll dive into that one in just a little bit. Also going to talk a little bit about the September rate cut possibilities because they're slowly decreasing. And then I've got a few stock picks at the end of the show that I'd like to talk about. If you got any stocks that you'd like me to take a look at, go ahead and throw those in the chat for me and we will get to those closer to the end of the show. Let me get my stock heat map pulled up and start that music in the background. All right, getting that pulled up, and let me know if that music's just a little bit too loud for you. If it is, I can turn it on down. Let me make sure it's playing. There we go, got that playing in the background. We are seeing a little bit of a mixed day today. The few things in the red are not heavily in the red, so that is a little bit nice. We've got Apple down 0.02%, Nvidia sitting up 1.11%. We got Berkshire Hathaway up 0.21%, Amazon sitting up 0.1%. We've got Eli Lilly down 0.44. We've got ExxonMobil sitting neutral today. Just switched to that neutral range. Got Tesla up 1.51% right now. P&G up 0.8. We've got Microsoft down 0.88. We've got Google down 0.39. And to wrap it on out, we've got Meta sitting down 2.09%. I did see a request for CAT. Can definitely take a look at that one. I own just a little bit of their stock. They've been doing it quite well. Where do you get most of your information, BC? X or just any more official platforms? Honestly, I watch a little bit of news. Sometimes it's X. Sometimes it's a podcast or talking a little bit about what's going on. I just keep my ear to the ground and see what I find. So, the internet is a very, very useful tool, and I use it as much as I can. Sometimes I just ask ChatGPT, what is the big news articles of the day? And sometimes that's where I get some news. So, yeah. BC has cable? No. I get all of my news from the internet, so I've got this great PC, and why would I pay for cable when I can just get it for free? But let's hop over to that economic calendar because we did have a few things that we were going to be looking at for this week. We've got some earnings reports that will be coming out a little bit later. We will touch on that one on another show, though. Hopefully can do one on Friday so we can actually talk about the earnings reports. We do have some data coming out this week that we will be watching very closely. Housing starts, that's going to be the big one for Tuesday. Going to be coming out at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. So keep your eye out on that one. Looking like a little bit of a slowdown, not too unexpected. Music is low for me using headphones, so don't know for the rest. I have it down extra low, so anyone else, let me know how that music is. If it is a little bit too low, I can turn it up just a little bit. So if it's a low for you in the headphones, it's definitely low for everyone else. Let's see what else we got going on for Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon, going to be having Fed Bowman speaking. We'll definitely be tuning into that one. we've been getting a little bit of a split on that federal interest rate decision, a few dissenting votes leaning towards cut. But with the new data that's been coming out, we might see that switch up coming forward. So keep your eye on that data. We do have a little bit more data coming out later in the week. Scrolling on down, we get that 30-year mortgage rate application to see that at 6.67%, the mortgage rate at 6.67%. Not too crazy, especially with how that 10-year bond has been doing. Seeing a little bit of some sell-off on that is coming back up. Scrolling on down, we get that crude oil stock information. I always pay attention to that. It's very crucial to your energy. We have the FOMC minutes coming out on Wednesday as well. That'll be a biggie to actually hear what all was said at that last FOMC meeting. Scrolling on down a little bit more, let's dive into Thursday. We get that continuing jobless claims. We'll definitely be keeping our eye on that. As we've continued to see those initial jobless claims increase, it lowers that chance of a rate cut, especially with inflation increasing as well. So inflation increasing, normally don't cut rates. Job numbers doing a little bit bad, that's that chance to cut rates. But if they're going up very slowly while inflation is increasing massively, that's not enough of a pressure to actually cut those rates. So we will be watching those job numbers coming on Thursday. We also get that Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index looking like a massive slowdown on that. So keep your eye on that. You mean Crucidial or username? Oh my goodness. Let's scroll on down. We can get that existing home sales on Thursday as well. Looking like a little bit of a decrease there. Not unexpected, as we have seen the most houses on the market since 2019. So most homes on the market since 2019, and no slowdown on that at all. Scrolling on down a little bit further, for Friday, we have Fed Chair Powell speaking. So definitely going to be watching for that one, seeing what he's talking about. It was a crude oil joke because you said it was crucial. Yeah, I got it, username. You're very, very punny, but your comedy's sophisticated. I'd say it's more punny, but yes, I definitely got it. It was a little cringe, just a little bit, but let's hop over to some of those news articles we had pulled up, dive into some of what we've been seeing this past week. I saw quite a bit that is affecting those farming states. So let's dive straight into that one, and then we'll get over to see what Kathy Woods just bought at wrong news article. There we go. Gambling with American farmers' lives. Grower warns Trump put country in complete turmoil. Scrolling on down, we got John Boyd Jr., founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, warns farmers are going to lose their land under the policies of President Donald Trump, even the ones who voted for him. We're hearing from farmers all around the country that bankruptcies are on the rise, and farmers are asking, how am I going to be able to stay in my home or even keep my home if they file for bankruptcy? Farmer suicides are up, and the president's tariffs have put this country in complete turmoil, Boyd told CNN anchor John Berman. Boyd described a state of emergency for American farmers because of the historically low sale prices of corn, wheat, and soybean thanks to tariff troubles. The president is negotiating on this because he knows farm produce is the only thing that America produces, and he's gambling with American farmers' lives, said Boyd. Boyd also slammed the president, herding up migrant workers, riding through fields and chasing them like livestock. We have been seeing a little bit of a decrease of the workforce for farmers. You know, a lot of that was migrant workers, but that's neither here nor there. You do see a lot of these farmers filing for bankruptcy as these tariffs have kind of shaken up the market. A lot of deals that were made for the purchase of soy, specifically here in my state of Nebraska, was going to be going to China. Well, when you saw tariffs being raised on Chinese goods to come into the American market, China backed out of a lot of those deals. When you have a lot of these farmers only growing one or two crops, say corn and soy or corn and wheat, you do see them come across a situation like this, where if your market switches and you were heavily into one good, banking on one deal to really pay your whole year out, and that deal backs out, then you're kind of screwed. A lot of these farmers have been just straight plowing their fields because they can't actually sell their good. That has been coming up a little more often as you watch all of this turmoil kind of unfold. You will kind of have to see if any new deals are made with that. We have been working quite closely with the European Union, a big buyer of a lot of our produce, so we'll kind of have to keep our eye to see if we can have any deals nailed out for that. Can you imagine being the guy to take that poll? Are farmer suicides up? Let's go and ask a bunch of families. Yeah, that would definitely be a rough one to do, username. I would not want to do that job myself. But we have seen this when times are really hard for farmers. It gets to that point where you backs against the wall, and it happens in a lot of industries. Actually, we saw it happen with FTX when everyone's money just completely disappeared. You know, these are rough situations, and to get to the other side of it might take a little bit of time. We need new negotiations with new countries. Banking on one deal is not going to cut it anymore. And European Union needs a lot of our corn, a lot of our soy. They do raise a lot of livestock. Soy is used to make a lot of the feed there. Wheat is another one used to make a lot of feed for animals. So we're gonna have to watch this one going forward. You have seen corn at some all-time low prices. Definitely a little good for ethanol when you're talking about energy production, but not good on the farmer side of things. Let's dive into this next news article. Farmers' bankruptcy started ticking up by 55% in 2024, but we ignore that. I mean, a lot of people do ignore it. The farming industry is a massive part of the American economy, and we kind of just ignore it a lot. We are a massive producer of not necessarily like meats, because you have other countries that really handle that, like Brazil. But when it comes to like wheat or corn or soy, we produce a massive amount for the world, and it's really underlooked. You have that being the real backbone of the American economy there. Let's dive into this next news article. I was looking at Kathy Woods buying up some more. She's been on a massive buying streak. Took a lot of profits recently, and looks like she's throwing that in to an AI stock that everyone's probably heard about. We got LBC in the chat. Glad to see you here, sir. Hope you're having a great day. He said bonkers. On the farming stuff, it most definitely is, and no one's really talking about it. You've seen farming bankruptcies at all-time highs, and they continue to go to the upside. You see a lot of it blamed on Trump, but there's a very old saying that you don't put all of your eggs in one basket, and that's what we've been doing for quite a while. Monocrop agriculture is absolutely destructive to the earth. It destroys your soil. It makes it harder and harder to keep producing that produce, and you bank on this one deal from one place to pay your whole year out, and instead you could actually be producing lots of goods for lots of places and keeping some of that at home and actually feeding the American people. But I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. We got Cathie Woods buying 12 million of a tumbling AI stock. You might know what I'm talking about here. That is CoreWeave. Cathie Woods, head of ARK Invest Management, targets tech companies she believes will be the next wave of innovation. But she's not a passive investor. She frequently adjusts her positions, buying more when stock prices fall and trimming when they rally, balancing short-term gains and her long-term vision. That's what she just did, buying shares of a popular tech stock that had tumbled 36% after earnings. Woods funds have experienced a volatile ride this year, swinging through sharp losses to strong gains. Now, the ARK Invest funds are making a strong comeback. As of August 15th, the flagship ARK Invest Innovation, ARKK, is up 33.7% year to date, far outpacing the S&P 500. Let's dive into this one. On the stock chart, on that chart though, because I did have that pulled up, I was looking at it. CoreWeave was on an absolute tear, and it's seen quite a pullback. You did have those early investors that were locked in. They could not sell any of their funds for 6 months. That also was a giant part of some of this dip here. You saw that that second quarter earnings report come out was not as nice as everyone was hoping. You saw a massive sell-off, and then a lot of those initial investors that were locked in, their stocks were unlocked and they were able to sell, and that continued with that cascade there. We do have a giant CME gap to end up filling. We will have to get that drawn out for you. I don't know why it didn't go over from my tablet. I drew it over on my tablet this morning. Let's get that colored blue, because that's what we like to color our CME gaps around here. Let's get that all drawn out for you. As you can see, we had broken up above our resistance line, got that nice push up to the 236, and then really sold off quite heavy. We are sitting at a point where you could see us go a little bit further down. And let's get that pulled up on that higher term time frame here. Actually take a look at this daily, because that daily still says we have a little bit further that we could go down here. We are trying to hold what was resistance as some support, but it is a little bit weak. We'll dive into that one when we get into that lower term time frame, but your MACD is sitting quite below our indicator line here, continuing to point to the downside. We've got your prime oscillator in red, and that money flow going crazy on some sell-off. That volume is holding quite steady here as we continue to see that sell-off come our way. So I will be looking for some lower prices around $76.21 to that platinum pocket at $66.16. This is going to be my buy area for CoreWeave. I do think they have a lot more upside they could potentially do, especially with that AI performing as well as it has been. But this is a great buying opportunity, as a lot of those initial investors have started to sell off and take their profits. If you can't hold that golden pocket coming in at 92.59, looking back down towards that platinum pocket area would be that next thing to really watch for. Diving on in to that hourly time frame, you can see we're moving a little bit sideways here on that MACD. Prime oscillator getting that continued rollover here. Let me get it moved over so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Getting that rollover of our prime oscillator as money flow starts to come back out all over again. Volume is a little bit low here on the hourly. You can see that on those very small candles. We're coming very close to our golden pocket, and that's that area I will kind of watch to see if we get a little bit of some bouncing action on. We are on the top side of what was resistance, so I do think we try to hold that for a little bit before we really make up our minds on if we hold that golden pocket or if we come back down to my target at 76.21. Let's dive this in a little bit further. Take a look at that 15-minute. You can see that 15-minute has been trying to cool off as we get all of this sideways action on top of our on top of that line that was resistance, looking to hold it as some support. You've got your MACD getting a little bit of some curvature here. Your money flow is a little bit stagnant as your sell-off has slowed up just a little bit. You've got a reversal signal here on your prime oscillator, but it's still sitting in the red. Your volume is holding quite nicely, quite nice and steady as we've been moving sideways. So looking to see if we can at least hold the top side of this trend line here, get a little more cool off on those higher term time frames, get a little bit of bouncing action off of that golden pocket, and then see where we go from there. I do still have that target to the bottom side because that daily was looking quite overheated, and if you zoom that on out to the weekly, that weekly doesn't even have any information for us because the stock is that new. So to see some massive sell-off coming all the way back down to the platinum pocket would not be too crazy, as a lot of this is quite speculative. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Ready for Hodl the Line, says Lunar Beaches Crypto. I am too, sir. I can't wait for it. If you guys don't follow CCM, let me get that link to tonight's show. Me, Lunar Beaches Crypto, Crypto Coin Mindset, and Crypto Bedell will be talking about a video that Lunar Beaches sent us. It is about some risk that we've been an early crypto adopter was seeing. He warns about the potential collapse of the crypto markets. We'll be breaking some of that down tonight. So here's that link for you. Let me drop it over there for y'all on X as well. It will be streamed on X and on Crypto Coin Mindset's channel. So there's that YouTube link. If you follow me on X, you can tune in on X and see that there. Let's dive into some of these stocks that we take a look at every single time. We do have that NASDAQ making those new making that move to all-time highs all over again. Let's get this zoomed out to that weekly. You can see quite nicely we got that push through our CME gap here. We're making that move towards that 1618 on our fib extensions here. You do see a little bit of some toppiness here on the daily, looking like we're flagging out just a little bit. That money flow still solidly in the green, but we could continue to see some upside action as we've been on an absolute tear on these indices. You've got that money flow increasing quite nicely here. You've got your volume holding quite steady as well. To see us come back down, really see that CME gap top side tested and held us some support would be something to watch for, and then continue our way to the upside towards that 1618 at 22,112. Let's get this closed out because that is filled. That CME gap will most likely get tested again though. That's what we see quite often on this price action. Diving on into that hourly, you can see that we filled it quite nicely, and then we're making that sideways flagging out action here, waiting to see if we can get some money flow to really pull that price back towards the upside. We do have a little bit of some resistance up here off of that candle close. Let me get a short-term horizontal ray drawn out. We got that nice wick in action off of the price. Let's make that a little bit thinner so you know it's that short-term time frame. You got that coming in at 21,771. That is that area we will be watching for to see if we get a little bit of some rejection to really push us back down to the top side of the CME gap, hold that as some support, and then continue our way towards the upside. That hourly does look like you're running into an area where you could start to see some resistance, getting that curvature back up, but staying in the light red. MACD also getting that curvature back towards the upside here as well, but you're not seeing any crazy money flow coming on in here. Zooming on into the 15-minute, you can kind of see as well that 15-minute is getting a little overheated with these small moves towards the upside. So moving extremely sideways here. I would expect to see that 21,771 holding as some resistance for now, especially with all of those rate cut chances being diminished. Diving on in to the S&P 500, we got that nice strong move above our platinum pocket fib extension. We talked about that level on our last show. Holding it quite nicely for now, moving a little bit sideways on top of it, but we are looking a little bit toppy here on the daily, so we'll kind of have to see if we can at least maintain this platinum pocket area, move a little sideways on it. That'll give us a little bit of some cool off here. You've got your money flow holding in the green here on the daily, but that prime oscillator and that MACD both look a little bit toppy here. I might be yawning a lot during the show, BC. I can't stop. Market is boring. Yeah, it has been a little bit boring. That's why hodl the line is kind of nice. We don't do a whole lot of talking about the actual markets when it comes to price action and things like that. We like to dive into the news, really open up people's minds to what's going on. We got Wix Wife Fine 89 in the chat. Glad to see you here. Hope you've been having an amazing day. Let's see. We got All Set saying, Wix Wifey, hope you're having a fantastic work day. We're all glad to see her here. We got 10 people over on X as well. Glad you're all here as well. If you got any stock picks you'd like me to take a look at, go ahead, throw them in the chat. We'll get to those right after we dive through the rest of these indices that we love to take a look at. Daily is looking a little bit toppy there. Zooming on into that hourly, you can see we've been moving quite sideways on top of this platinum pocket. We did have a brief CME gap that we've filled already on top of that platinum pocket, holding it quite nicely as that both prime oscillator and MACD are looking like they could bottom here. If you can see some money flow coming back in, that is going to be that big if here. If not, looking for a little more sideways action on top of that platinum pocket. See if we come all the way down to this CME gap down here. Let me get the new one drawn out because we gapped a gap there. Zooming on in so we can get that drawn out a little bit better. Oop. Oh, let me get that drawn out a little bit better there. We've got top side being that support area line and the bottom side being that support area line, and that top side coming in at that candle close there. Let's get that colored in because it is not filled yet. This will be that area to really watch for if we can't hold the platinum pocket, coming in at $6,438 there. Looking for that CME gap coming on all the way at 6,400 for the top side and $6,380 for the bottom side. Seeing if we can come back down, really close that out, and then continue on the way to the top if we can't hold the platinum pocket. We are looking a little bit sideways for now, and we will kind of have to see if we hold that platinum pocket. That is our strong support for right now. We've got the 15-minute looking a little bit toppy here as we get this sideways action, but that money flow is not heading out. So definitely going to be watching that money flow here on the shorter term time frame as that MACD is starting to move a little sideways. Prime oscillator looking a little bit toppy. Money flow holding steady as some light selling pressure as we continue to move sideways. So watching for that platinum pocket to hold is what we're going to keep our eye on. That next upside target is quite the upside target here, gonna be $6,881. Gonna have to pull a shorter term time frame fib extension though to really get an idea of where we might head to. because there's going to be some targets along the way there. If we also see those interest rate chances continue to diminish, that might dampen the chances of those all-time highs as well. A lot of that push towards the upside was because a lot of people thought we would be seeing some cheaper lending, and that would give a nice pump towards the upside on some of these markets. We have the Dow Jones making an all-time high and then pulling right back towards the top side of that fib extension. Let's get that zoomed out a little bit better there. Here you can see it. We made that new all-time high for the Dow Jones. We've now pulled back into that fib retracement that we've been watching for quite a while, and we might make our way back down towards our CME gap. You do have that MACD getting some rollover here with some sideways momentum. Prime oscillator also getting that rollover as well. We got Alexandra G in the chat. Glad to see you here, Alexandra G. Hope you're having an amazing day. Let's see. K Diggity saying, K Diggity, oh, what was it? Look at the pool. Buffer invested in it. Look at pool. Okay. I can definitely take a look at that. Pool. Buffett. I'm assuming Buffett, not buffer. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Yep. See that? Yep. Buffett. So kind of random unless you're expecting a real estate boom. Hey, you never know. If we get some cheaper lending, which I don't think happens in September, I think that's pushed off a little bit further. But when that cheaper lending heads our way, you might see something changing in that real estate market. K Diggity, yes, you're tripping balls, man. I must be tripping. Feels like nothing. Feels nothing like 6 a.m. right now. Yeah, because it's not. It is 2:30 in the afternoon. We've got, what else? I'm tired too. Gonna have to do some jumping jacks before out of the line. Yeah, get that blood pumping. Let's see what we're looking at here on the shorter term time frame for the Dow Jones. It is flagging out just a little bit, getting some nice cool off on that prime oscillator. MACD also trying to get some cool off here. We'll get that CME gap pulled on up here so you can see what we might be looking for. This is going to be our support area to watch for. This was a big CME gap. It is filled, so let's get that colored in black for the background, and that's what we're gonna watch for that top side. We did gap on top of that gap. That top side coming in at $44,144. That's that area we're looking to hold for now. We did have this be a nice little area that we saw tested. We got that nice little push above it, retested the bottom side, pushed above it, retested the midline, and then really got that bounce off of our top side. So to come back down, really test the top side of that all over again, cool off that higher term time frame, not too unexpected after an all-time high on the Dow Jones. Zooming on in, taking a look at the 15-minute here, we are flagging out. Your prime oscillator and MACD are very, very cooled off, but your money flow is very, very low here. So seeing us, not seeing any crazy profit taking happening just yet, but you could potentially see that way head our way, especially if you see those chances of a rate cut continue to diminish here. Let's zoom. Let's take a look at gold. We did talk about gold last time. We talked about that push on up to $3,403. We did say we wanted to see our 236 hold here. It is not held at all. We got a nice strong rejection off of it, a move into our fair value gap here. Let's get this pulled up on that daily so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. This is pulled from that 4 hour. The daily is a little bit bigger there. You can kind of see if I unlock that, get that moved, get that top side moved. Let's get the top side moved. Comes in just under the 236. Actually, let's go off of the daily there. You can see that midline held quite nicely on this fair value gap. Comes in. There we go. midline held quite nicely on this fair value gap. We're still waiting for a little more cool off here. Might see that move a little bit sideways in the range on the top side of the fair value gap. Would wait to see what kind of data we get this week. We did see those mortgage rate applications. The big one's going to be Jerome Powell this Friday. Might get a little bit of a push back up to some of those higher prices for gold, sitting at that $3,403 range. If you see Jerome Powell kind of poo-poo on those rate cut chances. Just saw someone driving a Cybertruck without a wrap. Gross. Well, with or without a wrap, that's gross. Those Cybertrucks are absolute atrocities. They look like rolling dumpsters. So I don't know why he thought that was a great idea to just put wheels on a dumpster and then call it good. But I'd almost rather drive a dumpster. It would be a little more bulletproof too. So I don't know if you've seen those videos, but that Cybertruck is not very bulletproof. You put three rounds of a rifle round into there, like your basic 223. You put 3 of those in pretty much around the same spot. That third bullet will go through. So not very bulletproof. You might as well just spend your money elsewhere. That Ford Lightning does a whole lot better. They've been selling quite well. You've got your money flow here on the shorter term time frame for gold, coming in to a little bit of some selling pressure. Nothing too crazy though, as we at least maintain some of the sideways action in the top side of our fair value gap, getting some curvature back towards the upside on that prime oscillator. MACD also getting a little bit of some curvature back towards the upside here, but you could expect that top side of the fair value gap and the 236 to really come in as some resistance again, especially with how that higher term time frame was looking. Seeing us cool off with that sideways action would be that move to watch for as we wait to see what happens with those rate cut chances. Let's see what we got. All right, let's dive on over to some of those stock requests. We had cat requested. It is on my list there. Let's find that all the way down here. And manufacturing, it has been doing it quite nicely on an absolute tear to the upside. This is that weekly time frame. I don't have any fibs pulled up, but let's get some of those drawn up here. We've got your low to your high here to your low, and let's see, saw that platinum pocket area being a little bit of a struggle and might be looking back down to some of these lower levels if you see this weekly cool off a little bit more there. Let's see what we've got on the shorter term time frame. Let's take a look at that, not the 2-day, the daily. There we go. Got that nice move above the platinum pocket. Tried to hold it here on the daily. We're able to hold it for just a little bit, and then you saw that nice little wicking action below it. What gets wicked gets candlesticked, and then that move back below our platinum pocket fib. Taking a look at an old CME gap here that might be an area of some interest. Getting that drawn up, it sits directly below our golden pocket fib extension there. Top side coming in at 391.23, and bottom side coming in at 374.73. That's going to be a little bit of an area of interest here. We'll kind of have to see if we can hold the golden pocket fib extension there. That was coming in at that 391, and we will see if that holds. If that does not hold, watching us come all the way back down to the bottom side that we moved through with some quickness would not be too unexpected. This is an area that we moved quite quickly through, didn't see a whole lot of price action in, so to come back to that area, really retest some of those levels, see what people think of it, would not be the most unexpected thing. We have been moving a little bit sideways here, holding quite nicely at 407. If we really break below that, watching for that breakdown towards the CME gap would be that next thing to see. You do have your hourly looking a little bit nice. If you could get some money flow coming on in, you could really break that trend. You are getting that MACD with some curvature back towards the upside. Prime oscillator getting curvature back towards the upside as well, but the money flows is staying in the red. So gonna have to watch to see if we can get that nice little flip. You are making very equal lows. Would like to see that taken out. At least hold the lows below that, coming in at 402. Let's get that horizontal ray drawn out for a short-term bouncing area. That was our nice strong support down there. Got a little bit of sideways momentum on, little bit of sideways price action on it before we got that move above our platinum pocket there. Would be nice to see that hold. If we don't hold that area after we take out these equal lows, would look back down towards that golden pocket fib extension. Your MACD is moving a little bit sideways there, so could get that roll over very easily. 15-minute looking a little bit toppy here. You do see that getting your MACD getting a little bit of some rollover. Let's get that zoomed on in. MACD getting a little bit of some rollover. Prime oscillator as well, as your money flow starts to get a little bit heavier on some of that selling pressure. So definitely going to be watching to see if we hold that 402 and then look a little bit lower towards that 391 and a little bit lower on that. For that next bouncing level is going to be 374. So those are those bottom sides. We do have some top side targets that we could take a look at as well. If you break towards the upside, taking a look, we've got 436 being our strong resistance area there. We did get a few little touches on that here. Let's zoom it on in, see what we got for that hourly, get a little bit of a better idea on that. So a lot of wicking action coming in with some candle body closes on that top side. Let's make that a little bit heavier so you can see that top side target. Once we get back above our platinum pocket is going to be that 436.43. Would like to really get above that, hold that as a support area. Let's get that top side CME gap drawn out as well. This one is also closed, so two CME gaps towards the top, one towards the top side, one towards the bottom side. Those are those two real areas to look for some price action and rejections off of. So let's take a look at Pool. I'm not sure what that company does, but Pool Corporation. Let's see what it is there. Pool Corporation. Oh, I guess that's on PIF. Let's get that as not crypto. Pool Corporation on the NASDAQ. That must have been the tokenized version. Can't wait to argue with you later. Don't know what we would argue about, but I think, I'll think of something, says LBC. Hey, we might agree, LBC. You know, you never know. We've got very similar opinions on some things and very differing opinions on other things. Just depends how political we get. So let's see. Pool looking like a buy on analyst ratings. Technicals looking like a buy. You've got your earnings coming in to the downside. So definitely looking like you could see a little bit of a switch up on that. Let's see. Oh no, those were the stock performance was coming in a little to the downside there. You've got your earnings coming in a little bit nice though. You saw your little trough down in Q4 of 24, waiting for that move back towards the upside with some price action as you are making some lows here. So let's get that zoomed out. making those lows as you've moved a little bit sideways in the bottom side of this range. Let's get a fib pulled on up. Let's get that hidden so we can get some better history on it. Let's pull it up to the weekly so we can get that better fib there. We've got the lows to the high to the low. Let's see on a fib extension where we could break out to. We've got the lows to the high to the low there. Saw that top side come in as some resistance. Platinum pocket was resistance, broke to the bottom side of that. So let's get that hidden, and we will take a look at a fib retracement as we are sitting on the bottom side of that. Might be looking a little bit weak there. Let's take a look at a fib retracement, see what levels we might watch for. Let's go from the whole move. We've got the low to the high here. Golden pocket coming in as a little bit of some resistance there. We did break below it. You saw some wicking action above it. Your weekly does look like you could see some pumping action if you see some money flow coming on in. All I know is Warren Buffett invested in it. So, I mean, if he invested in it, he did so at some good levels. These are some bottoming actions of a nice sideways range. Your golden pocket area is your nice little bottoming. Let's get a horizontal ray drawn out from these very equal candle bodies. There we go. You can see we got some nice bouncing action off of those candle body closes. You've got your 382 coming in as your very strong resistance. We rejected off of it here. We rejected off of it here. Got a nice little you zooming in, probably a nice little triple topping action, and then you really drop back down towards your golden pocket there. Would look to see some money flow coming on in on your shorter term time frame. We'll see what we're looking at here on the daily. Been getting that nice sideways action. On top of that, 285.42. You can see all of the touches holding that as some strong support there. Let's get our music going again. There we go. We've got that nice sideways action below our golden pocket. Got a brief move above it. Really rejected off of that. Not a 700 moving average. I believe that's what it is there. Let's see. Yep, 700. That nice bright pink 700 moving average rejected off of it. Dropped back down below our golden pocket. Got that nice secondary rejection above our golden pocket on the 300 moving average. You are seeing these shorter term time frame moving averages get some constriction here, trying to get that curvature back towards the upside, as your MACD might need a little bit of some cool off here. You've got it looking a little bit toppy, making a lower high, getting that rollover, but nice in line with some of that price action. So no crazy divergences heading our way. You've got 3 reversal signals that have flashed as we get close to that golden pocket. So really waiting for some money flow as the money flow continues to stay in the red. Getting that reversal signal here, getting a little bit of some curvature to the downside, but doing so in the green. So we'll kind of have to see what's going on that shorter term time frame. How you doing today, Jesse? Glad to see you tuning on into the show. We got a nice little thing to end the show with, some new energy picks that I've been taking a look at. Kind of wanting to hedge some of that nuclear energy, some of those nuclear energy plays that I've been doing. So branching out into some alternative energy in a quite fascinating field. After that, after those nuclear stocks that I've been watching got tapped to actually make some new nuclear power plants. So now just looking for that next avenue for energy. We've got your MACD and prime oscillator looking like you could continue to see a little bit of some cool off. Your money flow was briefly in the green here, looking like it's dipping back down towards some selling pressure as your MACD sits below our indicator line. Your prime oscillator looking like it's getting an extra little rollover here as that money flow starts to head to that area where we could see some selling pressure. MACD sitting below the 0 line here, getting that sideways momentum, but it's constricting quite nicely on that. You can see making that higher low, making lower high, so nice little constriction on that momentum. Your prime oscillator is very bottomy here. You've got two bullish divergences, just waiting on some money flow to come back in. It is heavily in the red here on the short-term time frame, but not too unexpected. We do have some very strong support below us. That next little area to kind of watch for, let's see, we've got a few of them. Gonna be this one right here at 313. That's going to be that first one to keep your eye on. That's also the bottom side of this CME gap here. It is a very small CME gap, so nothing too crazy. Very easy to close that there. Your next target going to be below that, coming in at these wicks where we got some nice bouncing action off of 303.22. Let's get that one drawn out as well. These are going to be some shorter term time frame bouncing areas to kind of keep your eye on. Let's get that locked. Let's get this one locked as well. Let's actually click on the right thing there. There we go. Got that shorter term time frame coming in. And let's make this one a little bit thicker because that's our heavy support down on the bottom side. 285.42 is our very strong support. These are the areas of interest we would like to see some bouncing action off of. Going to be 313.11 and then 303.08. So two little bouncing areas to watch for a pool. You do have plenty of upside potential if you can get above this golden pocket. You can see this golden pocket has been resistance for a little bit while, but it does look like it has weakened just a little bit. Thick support, it says K Diggity with 2 C's. Yeah, it is thick support. You can see all the bouncing action off of it, and it runs from all the way back. So very, very thick support area. Nice touches, bouncing action right off of it. You've got that potential for some upside action. Let's get that zoomed back out to that 4 hour there. See what we'd be looking for some topside targets. Looking at the a little bit higher there, 349 going to be an area of interest for the top side. It was a very strong support through the top side of this golden pocket to 50% line. You can also see a lot of price action on that area as well. Let's go with a shorter term time frame area to watch for. Let's see, 330.23. If you can start to get some of that upside action there, you can see all of the support from there as well. That's going to be a shorter term time frame one. Let's make it a little bit thinner so you know. That's going to be 329.62. That next real upside target going to be above that at 348.99. Basically 349. You do have a few more areas to the upside to keep your eye on. If you can get back above the 50%, coming in at, let's see, we've got 380 being that next real area to keep our eye on. If you can get above that 50% there, we've got a lot of rejections in that area. We've got a nice little candle wick there as well. We'll have to move that now that we're zoomed in. Coming in at, there we go, 379.36. So that's that next real thick area to watch for. All right, we got any other stock requests to take a look at? Because if not, I'm gonna dive on into those energy plays that I'd been taking a look at. So, you know my thoughts on energy and energy independence. I don't think that we can do that in America if we're just strictly on oil. So, you saw my branching on out into some nuclear at the beginning of the year. All of those have played out quite nicely. My next look at energy has been geothermal energy. So let's dive into a few of these stocks. We have BKR is Baker Hughes company. They've been doing it quite nicely, and then saw a little bit of some sell off here. You can kind of see we are now back at the top side of this range. We did make a lower high. We are trying to hold this old CME gap as well. So been on an absolute move back towards the upside. Let's get this zoomed on out to the weekly. You can kind of see now we've got that nice big push off of those absolute lows, looking to at least break some of these areas here where we've got that strong resistance coming in at $49.39. We can get above that area, could see a lot more upside here. You do see very strong support down on your bottom side. Let's get that drawn on out. Don't know why sometimes these charts don't move from where you originally charted them from. So you've got that nice strong support down below us at 32.21. That's where we got some nice bounce in action off of, and we got that move back up towards our resistance area. Let's get those locked. Let's get this one. Oh, it is locked. All right, and let's get a fib pulled here from the highs to the low and see where we're sitting. We've got this holding up, seeing that golden pocket come in as a little bit of a resistance area. So waiting to see what happens back down at the 50 here. You're seeing a bearish divergence here with a little bit of a peak seeker on that weekly. Zooming on in, taking a look at the daily, it does look like you could see a little more cool off coming back to that 50% line at $40.16. There's also a CME gap in that area as well to see us retest that. Not too unexpected. Bottom side coming in at the $50 and $40.21. Top side coming in, let's get that drawn a little bit better so it's actually off of the candle body. Gotta move it, there we go. Top side coming in at 41.49. So that's that area to kind of watch us hold as some support. If we don't, coming all the way back down to the 50 would be that thing to watch for. Also some decent buying opportunities in that area. We do have a little bit of some lower targets as well. If they continue to see that cool off happen, that weekly bearish divergence really play out, I would look back down towards that 382. We've got some very nice equal candle body closes down here on that daily. We'll have to move that one because I had to zoom it on in. There we go. Got all those candle body closes coming in. Oh, right above that area. There we go. Coming in at $34.17. You can see all the wick in action we got off of it right here as well. So a few little targets down there. Let's see what we've got above that one for some targets as well for some bouncing action. Coming in at some of those equal candle bodies up here. There we go, 38.47. You can see that strong bouncing area as well right here. It gave us that push back up towards the golden pocket. Let's see what we got for some top side targets. If you can get back above that golden pocket, 49.15 is that next strong resistance area to watch for. Let's get those areas above that so we can see a little bit more what kind of upside potential it's got. We got 52.56 being that next strong resistance area, and then above that coming in basically at the platinum pocket would be that next area. This is a geothermal energy company. That's basically all they do. So looking for some energy alternatives to really branch out into, along with my nuclear plays. We had Ormat Technologies, another geothermal company, been on some sideways moves here. Let's get that weekly drawn out. Been cooling off, that been on an absolute tear towards the upside. You can kind of see that here, and been moving sideways since about 2021. You do have your top side coming in at 102, your bottom side coming in with some nice support at 59.90. So let's get those horizontals drawn out there. Got your wick in action and candlesticks closing on that. Let's see, that's coming in at $60.77. That's where we got that nice strong bounce action off of last time as well. We are approaching a resistance area here, so potential for some rejection. Let's get that off of the candle bodies and the wicks there, coming in at $98.99. All right, let's get a fib pulled on up so we can see what some of these levels might be. We've got the low towards the high, and looking like we're seeing some price action right there at the 50% line on that retracement. We do have we are breaking above it right now actually, so do see that 382 basically coming in as that top side as well. 382's $99.98, so almost that psychological level as well. So that'd be that next real area to kind of potentially see some resistance at. Oracle has been doing it quite nicely, at least holding steady with some sideways movements. It is rated as a strong buy on technicals. Analyst ratings is a buy. That 1 year target is back up towards that resistance area at 94.09. Taking a look at Ormat Technologies, operates as a holding company firm, engages in geothermal and recovered energy power. So nice little energy play I was taking a look at. We had ES, did make some nice moves towards the upside, also getting a little bit of some sideways action on the bottom side of that range there. Let's get a fib pulled on up for this one as well. Let's go from our lows here, which is also that nice strong support area, and the highs up at 98.80, 93. We are trying to hold the platinum pocket right now after some bouncing action on the bottom side of that fib. So seeing if we can hold that platinum pocket. Your weekly does look a little bit toppy there, but nothing too crazy. You do have that bullish divergence as well. That's what got us, that's what came in with some of that pushback up above the platinum pocket. I would look to see that platinum pocket get retested all over again, and that next upside target's really going to be that golden pocket at $70.36 there. Let's get this zoomed on in, take a look at that daily, see what we're looking at there. You do have that daily looking a little bit bottomy here. You could still have a little bit more to go. As you can see, that MACD getting that rollover, your prime oscillator also getting that rollover, but your money flow holding quite nicely in the green on top of this platinum pocket. You do have a bit of a big red candle here, but you're at least holding the bottom side here at 64.29. If we see that break, looking back down to the platinum pocket would be that area to watch for. This next one I was looking at is Chevron. They have branched out into some alternative energies like geothermal. You know, that one source of energy for them being oil, not gonna play out for the long term. So they are branching out into some new alternatives. You got them set for a potential move towards the upside here on the daily, but would need to see that continuation of money flow. You did close the CME gap finally. You've got a CME gap directly above that as well. Let's get that drawn on out so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Got that locked in. Now let's get that fib pulled here from our lows to our high. This is moving a little bit sideways on top of that golden pocket. So golden pocket held us support. Gotta move back to the 382 here. Looking to at least get back up to the 236. Really break some of those trends there. That would give you that higher low, that higher high, and then we would wait for a higher low, probably around that 50% line. That's going to be a nice real area of some support. That would really break that trend there. On the daily was looking quite nice. The weekly does look like you can see that continuation if you continue to see that money flow coming on in. It is a little bit flaggy here, so waiting for that real switch of trend. That was that last geothermal company I was really taking a look at. Jesse wants to see Amazon before we wind the show on down, so let's take a quick look at some Amazon. Let's see, we had a fib extension drawn. I guess it's been a little while since I've taken a look at Amazon. Let's get a new fib extension drawn on out here. Taking a look on the macro. Oh, wrong one. Fib extension. We've got our high to, or our low to our high to our low here. Looking like that platinum pocket is a little bit of a resistance area. Let's see what we've got for the short-term time frame. That weekly is moving a little bit sideways here. You do have a hidden divergence. Your money flow holding steady as some light selling pressure. Getting that curve back up though, so could really see that switch quite quickly. Would want to see those rate cut chances really increase. That would give them a little bit of some benefits there. Let's see what we got for a macro fib retracement here. We've got your lows to your high there. Got that nice 50% bounce there. Let me get that moved to the actual lows. There we go. Got that nice 50% bounce, and we're trying to make our way back up towards the top side there. So let's get that fib retracement hidden, if this, or fib extension hidden. If this is some top in action, we have our all-time high at 242.90, or no, 242.41. So that's that all-time high to really keep your eye on. And we are making our way back up to it. Let's get this zoomed on into the daily. You've got your daily with a giant CME gap there right now. We did end up making our way back towards the top side of it. Let's get this pulled on up here. CME gap. And we rejected quite heavily off of the top side of that. We'll make sure that is filled in black so we know it is closed there. Looking like we could come back down to 225.66. That's the midline of that CME gap. Your prime oscillator sitting light red, getting a little bit of sideways momentum. Money flow really in the green here. MACD also getting that sideways momentum. We'll kind of have to see if we can get back to the, I guess that's the midline of another CME gap as well. You can see this smaller one directly in there. Yep. So midlines lining up quite nicely, coming back down towards this CME gap. If we do break below, we do have 224.28 being that bottom side. That's an area to kind of watch for some bouncing action on, to see if we can at least hold. If not, breaking on back down to that 236 would also be an area of some interest. Would give your weekly and your daily some nice cool off there. You do have a CME gap down here as well, quite the big CME gap, and it is open. So let's get that drawn out correctly. There we go. We got this open CME gap to the bottom side of us as well. We got some nice touches off of the top side. That's at 208.84. We'll kind of have to see how toppy this is from the daily and the weekly though. Could get that roll over extremely easy. Let's see what the hourly is looking like. Hourly looking like you could potentially bounce up against the top side of that CME gap first and then make our way back to the downside. With how bearish those higher term time frames are looking, with those rate cut chances really decreasing, your overall data not looking overwhelmingly positive. You do have your money flow sitting nice and green here on the hourly, your prime oscillator getting some curvature back towards the upside, but doing so in the light red. MACD also getting some curvature here, so we're kind of gonna have to wait to see how this money flow comes our way going into tomorrow. I do think we get that move back up to 234.10 first before we get that roll over, come back down, test that midline of our CME gap, and then make a move from there. Let's see what we got on the 15 minute looking a little bit toppy there, but could definitely hold our short-term support at 228.50. Let's get that drawn on out for you. 228.50 there. That's going to be your short-term bouncing area. See if we can get that move back down towards it, move back up towards the top side of the CME gap, and then make our way back to the bottom side. Hourly 15-minute looking toppy. You got your hourly. Could see a little more push towards the upside there, so a little cool off in the short term, bounce back up in that mid-range time, and then those dailies and the weeklies looking a little bit toppy. So ultimately would be looking for a little bit of some support back down towards that 236. See if we can at least hold the midline of this giant CME gap at 201. So that's what I got for you there, Jesse. I will wind the show on down because I've been going for an hour and 15 minutes now. So thank you all for tuning on in. I appreciate everyone here on YouTube. Appreciate my viewers on X as well. I will see y'all tonight at Hodl the Line with Lunar Beaches Crypto. Until then, trade safe, and we'll see you at the next one.
This is Wall Street Weekly with BC PortCorp. Listen deeply, charts bleed reality. Green mixed with red, every ticker got a story, every dollar got a thread. Profits speak softly, losses scream loud. Bull markets whisper but the bears roar proud. Investing's more than digits, it's decoding minds. Patterns in the chaos, treasures you can find. Eyes wide open, stay sharp and precise, cause easy money's myth, truth comes with a price. Watch the money flow, truth hidden in disguise. Risk what you know, wealth favors the wise. If you ain't thinking deeper than your pockets leak weekly, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Tune in to Wall Street Weekly. With BC PortCorp, we're making sense of the madness. Truth in the numbers, clarity from the vastness.